Greetings, Skill Incarnate bringing you all the latest indie gaming goodness. Welcome back as I take a first look at a hot new turn-based strategy game, Othercide, which is the breakout title by small indie developer Lightbulb Crew, and was published by Focus Entertainment, who published several titles including Curse of the Dead Gods, The Surge 2, and Aliens Fireteam. Othercide is an intriguing mix of turn-based strategy and roguelike RPG, taking inspiration from strategy games like XCOM and Phoenix Point, as well as taking artistic inspiration from H.R. Geiger and Lovecraft. The game immerses the player in a gothic post-apocalyptic world called the Inner Void, which is under attack by an overwhelming force of eldritch horrors. These are controlled by a dark god called the Suffering. The Red Mother, who is the guardian of the Inner Void, is the last defense against the Suffering. She uses fragments of her power to summon her daughters, elite warriors who use a combination of weapons and magic to do battle against the Suffering and its creations. The Lovecraft art style and stark use of colour was what drew me to Othercide, but the precise combat, wide range of upgradable units and the dark and gritty setting was what made me stay, and I'm certainly glad I did. Othercide challenges a player to battle their way through several zones called eras, hunting down the Suffering's creatures and clearing their way to the era's boss. You start each run with a selection of daughters that fall into three main classes. The Blade Master is a fantastic crowd control unit, with abilities allowing her to attack multiple enemies at once. The Shield Bearer makes use of her shield to bash and stun enemies, interrupting their attacks and opening them up for a counter. Finally, the Soul Slinger is a powerful range unit used to cut down enemies from a distance and provide cover. While there's only a small number of classes to choose from, Othercide takes some inspiration from the XCOM character leveling system. As your sisters successfully defeat enemies and complete missions, they will level up. From here you get a choice of abilities for them to learn, allowing you to create different character builds for each daughter. You can create a shield bearer that focuses on defensive skills and armor, allowing them to become a tank, or a blade master that can use their skills to cut down squads of enemies before they can move. Finally, the Soul Slinger is one of your most useful members, allowing you to assassinate enemies with careful shots, and even employ explosive attacks. The right mix of squad members and skills can turn a hopeless battle into a stunning victory. The class system becomes more interesting when you learn to use combination skills. Each class has powerful skills that can be used to set up a devastating combo. This ranges from the Blade Master ability allowing an automatic attack on any enemy approaching melee range, or the Soul Slinger ability to assassinate any foe that attempts to attack a squad mate. These abilities need to be used with care as they require you to sacrifice some of your sister's health. However, when set up correctly, can create a domino effect that can destroy even the biggest enemy force. The game manages the turn-based combat through a timeline system, where every squad member waits to take their turn depending on their position in the timeline. The game's combat adds another layer of complexity by allowing you to manipulate the timeline by using character skills that either move squad members forward or push enemies back within the timeline. Understanding how the class skills, combos and timelines work is essential to standing a chance of winning battles in Othercide, as the Suffering's creatures are far stronger than your daughters and you'll almost always be fighting against overwhelming odds. Thankfully, your foes follow specific rules in combat, which you can discover upon successfully hunting some down. You can exploit this, luring enemies out of cover, creating an ambush, or setting them up for a flanking attack from another squad member. The combat system in Othercide is incredibly complex and brutally challenging, so it's only a matter of time before your daughters fall in battle. This is where the roguelike aspects of the game come into play. With every successful mission in the game, you'll earn shards, which is the game's currency, vitae, used to create new daughters, and life tokens, a rare resource used to resurrect the fallen. When a daughter falls in battle, she goes to the graveyard. You can create a new daughter using vitae or resurrect fallen daughters using one of your tokens. Additionally, the only way to heal wounded daughters is to sacrifice another one of a similar level. While this means you'll need to make some difficult decisions in regards to which of your daughters to lose, you'll also get to transfer the skills of these daughters to another, meaning you can develop an extremely powerful squad of high-level daughters over time. When you eventually fail a run by losing all of your daughters, you'll be returned to the start of the game. You can spend the shards earned in your previous run on remembrances, which are perks such as resurrecting one of your fallen daughters or increasing your daughter's health. These perks are tied to challenges such as eliminating certain enemies and bosses, and they're incredibly powerful boons that I prioritized unlocking. The character progression system in Othercide has an overall depth that guarantees this game will provide many hours of challenge. While I haven't yet finished the campaign of Othercide, I've completed more than a few runs to get a feel of the early game. This is an incredibly difficult title, even for turn-based strategy veterans like myself, and I can see how this may discourage some players. The game has two difficulties, with the normal difficulty allowing you to partially heal your daughters between levels. I highly recommend playing the game on this setting, at least for your first run, to understand the game mechanics. Players willing to stick it out will find that, like all good roguelikes, the game becomes more rewarding once you've completed a few runs and you begin to understand how everything works. If you're a fan of turn-based strategy games like XCOM, you should definitely keep an eye on Othercide, as it's a Lovecraftian art, stark colours, and deep combat and progression is unique amongst recent titles. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe, as it really helps the channel. I'd also like to thank the Indie Collective who provided a review copy of the game. I hope you join me next time when we look at another indie game. Until then, Skill Incarnate, out.